Part 23. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 222. The firefighters and sanitation people really came in the afternoon. Han Qian went to the restaurant with one arm hanging to look for trouble. Wherever they checked, Han Qian went to make trouble. In short, they just found reasons to quarrel. These guys seemed to be prepared in advance and completely turned Han Qian on. Qian Dang made the air. Not even a glance. These people didn't leave until after get off work. This time they didn't dare to use the excuse of being unqualified to get stuck. After saying no smoking or open flames, he left. When she got off work, Nuan called and said that she might go home later today. The people at the Yamen gate were checking the company's fire protection and sanitation. In addition, Lao Wen called her and asked her to go home tonight to get something. It was said to be supplements. Han Qian's. He also asked Han Qian to finish eating outside and then go home. Sitting in Ji Jing's car, Han Qian leaned against the passenger seat and cried without tears. Why is Cheng Jin so petty? Han Qian turned his head and looked at Ji Jing pitifully, saying aggrievedly. Aunt Ji, I'm so annoyed. Why do you think I'm so unlucky? Ji Jing glanced at Han Qian and smiled softly. Because you are awesome, the glorious Han Daxian Er, the General Han in Mr. Yan's mouth. I regret not going to the party that day. What do you want to eat? Dumplings. Hey, don't blame me. I'm not picky about food. I can eat anything. Japanese food. Sashimi. No raw food. Hot pot. I don't like ma-chan. KFC. Too dry. Dumpling. I just finished eating at noon. Sister Yang made it. Abalone for rice. So boring. Then what to eat? I'm not picky about food. Ji Jing parked the car on the side of the road, unbuckled her seat belt and looked at Han Qian sideways, took a deep breath and said weakly through gritted teeth. You, don't eat this or that, and you still say you're not picky about food. Han Qian looked at Ji Jing pitifully and shouted with his eyes closed, a bit coquettishly. I just don't know what to eat. Aunt Ji, I'm so irritable. Ji Jing sighed, started the car and said softly. Don't be irritable, be good. I don't know why, but Han Qian likes to show his most childish side in front of Ji Jing. Maybe he knows that Ji Jing will be humble and tolerant of him. Ji Jing drove around the new district, and every time he passed a house when visiting a restaurant, he would introduce it to Han Qian gently. He would not be angry if he was rejected and would continue looking for the next restaurant. From the new district to the old district, and then to the 8th district, Ji Jing visited all the restaurants in the city. Han Qian didn't say anything about what to eat. When the car passed a supermarket, Ji Jing stopped the car. I went for a jog to the supermarket and came back with a bottle of canned peaches and a pack of cigarettes. It was a can in a small tin box. Ji Jing opened the can and poked a piece of it with a small fork and fed it to Han Qian. Ji Jing smiled when she saw Han Qian open his mouth and eat the can. When I was sick and unhappy when I was a child, I wanted to eat canned food. I helped my classmates with their homework in exchange for $1 every day. I saved the money, and when I felt wronged, I bought a small can of canned food and squatted in the corner after eating it. I felt better. Sweet, not sweet. Han Qian finally showed a smile and nodded vigorously to Ji Jing. Sweet. What does Aunt Ji want to eat? Ji Jing tilted her head and thought for a while, then asked softly and tentatively. Korean hajangmyeon, you may not like it? Eat. Just eat fried noodles, hurry up. Ji Jing's face was full of joy and she nodded vigorously. Yeah. Rush the duck. At this moment, Han Qian is the most irritable and childish. Perhaps at this time, Han Qian does not need the mischievous warmth or the strong Yan Ching Ching. Only Jijing is the most suitable to accompany Han Qian at this time. One bite of dark fried noodles is just half a bowl. He is really not picky about food, but he just doesn't eat a lot of things. After finishing a bowl of noodles, when Han Qian took out his cigarette, Jijing had already taken out a tissue to wipe the noodle sauce from the corner of Han Qian's mouth. Looking at Han Qian holding the cigarette in his mouth, Jijing whispered, "How about you stop smoking? I'm almost finished." Han Qian put away the cigarette and nodded with a smile. After eating the noodles, he got in the car. When Han Qian took out the cigarette, Jijing took out a lighter. Han Qian was stunned for a moment, then went to pick up the lighter with a smile. Jijing refused and lit the cigarette. Jijing kicked the lighter into her pocket and did not give it to Han Qian. Jijing's thoughts are as clear as Han Qian's, and there have been ripples between the two of them. She is the one Han Qian can't bear to hurt the most. From her words, we can know that Jijing has had no sense of presence at home since she was a child. She has worked hard to when I went to school, I encountered a scammer, which caused my heart to become closed. After I graduated, I was used as a cash machine by my family. She is probably the happiest and most relaxed now. Han Qian couldn't help but feel sad. With so much mess on his body now, Jijing was not the least of them. The days to come will go by slowly, and he will be happy every day. Han Qian threw away the cigarette butt and smiled at Jijing. "Is there a movie you want to watch? Let's go watch it." After finishing his words, Han Qian clearly saw the expectation on Jijing's face, but then he became a little lonely and replied softly, "It's too late after reading it, the warmth may." Ignore her. Must watch. Watch the last one. And eat popcorn. Han Qian shouted in the car at the top of his lungs. Jijing smiled and nodded vigorously. There were a lot of people in the cinema. Han Qian held a bucket of popcorn in his injured arm and an extra-large cup of Coke with 2 straws in his right hand. Han Qian specially bought a couple's seat. Jijing accompanied him in the market. After running around for a long time, what happened to buying a couple's seat? Even if he bought a place for mother and son, Han Qian wouldn't resist. What a big deal. Sitting in a chair and watching the movie on the screen, Han Qian felt a little sore. Falling in love with my ex-wife. Han Qian approached Jijing and whispered, "Aunt Ji, did you do this on purpose?" Jijing shook her head slightly, then laughed. "I like this actor. If I had long hair and looked like him, Aunt Ji, I would actually be pretty good looking too." "I know, Duck, you are not fair either." Han Qian was slightly injured, holding a huge cup of Coke and pouring it into his stomach. The movie was over, all the popcorn was eaten, and there was not enough Coke. Han Qian had no idea what was going on. When walking out of the cinema, Jijing suddenly took Han Qian's hand and ran to a claw machine, staring at it. There was an oversized rabbit inside, Han Qian said softly. "This rabbit is a bit silly. He is holding carrots in his arms and drooling. His eyes still have 2 hearts. Doesn't he look like a female rabbit? Maybe I saw a handsome guy. Do women also drool? Want to try? I have 2 steel drills, come on. I try my best." In less than a minute, the two of them watched in disappointment as they hunted rabbits inside. When Han Qian wanted to change coins, he was stopped by Jijing and said softly, "Maybe you'll like it if you don't get it? What you said makes sense." Han Qian's straight man giggled, and the two of them walked downstairs side by side. There was no elevator, so they chose the stairs. When they reached the 2nd floor, Han Qian turned around and ran, talking as he ran. "Wait for me on the 1st floor. I'm going to the bathroom. I drank too much Coke." Jijing looked at Han Qian's back and said softly, "I'll wait for you on the 1st floor. Run slowly." "I walk very slowly." When Jijing walked down the last flight of stairs, she saw a man holding a huge rabbit in his arms. It was a few sizes bigger than the one in the claw machine. It blocked the whole person. Jijing watched the rabbit reveal itself. Jijing smiled, and when the man behind the rabbit showed a silly expression, Jijing covered her mouth. She still couldn't hold it back. Han Qian hugged the rabbit and shouted loudly. "Look, the rabbit is drooling on you." On the road, Jijing was holding a huge rabbit and giggling all the time. Han Qian was holding an ice cream in his hand, biting it one by one, then standing there and closing his eyes, frowning. "The ice hits my head again. This rabbit is a bit expensive, and I almost got into a fight with someone." Turning to look at Jijing, who was giggling, Han Qian said with a bad smile. "Stupid or not?" Jijing showed an arrogant expression, wrinkled her nose and whispered. "I do. You control me. I like it. I do. It's up to you. I like it. Maybe only two." After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 223. Jijing sent Han Qian home. When she returned home, she found that Nuan had not returned yet. When Han Qian made a phone call, Li Jinhe took the phone away. "The little white-eyed wolf won't go back today. It's too late and I don't worry. You can't drive to pick her up now." "Oh. The warmth is not coming back." Han Qian suddenly felt that his shoulders were lighter. He sat on the sofa and turned on the computer to prepare for his new plan. He didn't know what time he was busy. The next day, Han Qian got up on the sofa, rubbing his eyes and looking at the hanging clock on the wall. "It's 8:30. Going to be late again." He grabbed his clothes and ran out the door. On the way out, he met Zheng Jing again. The two said hello with a smile. On the second floor, they met Li Jiai, who was taking the elevator downstairs. Han Qian frowned and looked at Li Jiai, who frowned. "Looked at my uncle." When the elevator opened on the first floor, they both spoke at the same time. "You are late." After saying this, Han Qian lightly slapped Li Jiai on the shoulder and cursed with a smile. "I can't ask for leave. The little brat is still staring at me. You must be late." Li Jiai rubbed his shoulders and laughed. "Uncle, you are awesome." Seeing Li Jiai staring at his shoulder, Han Qian knew that it must be Tu Kun who said something to him. He raised his arms and put his arms around Li Jiai, smiling into his ear. "Be obedient, or I'll let your mother beat you up. Get out of here." The two of them walked out of the main entrance of the community together. When they saw Guandegu, Han Qian smiled. He didn't have to spend money to take a taxi. He could take a taxi. The two men were having sex in the car. Guandegu was passing by the bus stop. The dog stopped the car, opened Han Qian's car window and smiled at the nursery rhyme, who was also late. "Teacher Tong." When Tanjeo saw Han Qian, she had already opened the car door. After Tanjeo got in the car, she started asking about the grades of the two children. She directly chose to ignore Han Qian and sent the two children away. Guan Yunbiao also wanted to see their children. The head teacher lied and said that something happened in the morning and the child was late. Han Qian also followed him to the school. When the dean saw Han Qian, he smiled like a flower. After sending away the nursery rhyme, this time Han Qian was caught by the nursery rhyme and used as a shield by the third high school. The monster's head was indeed different from others. When he left the nursery rhyme office, the monster did not send him away. Then Han Qian saw Wei Busong and originally wanted to say hello. Unexpectedly, this girl completely ignored Han Qian's existence and passed by without saying hello, just like a stranger. This made Han Qian a little strange. Did this girl take the wrong medicine? This was good. It was already 9:30 when I left school. Since he was already late, Han Qian was not in a hurry. He sat in the car and smoked with Guandegu. Guan Yunbiao looked Han Qian up and down and said softly, You don't have any monitors on you, do you? Han Qian smiled and shook his head, and Guandegu whispered when he saw this. My master found some information that there is someone behind Feng Lun. Hearing this, Han Qian laughed again. I guessed it. I asked about the prices of guns and bullets. The pistols are okay. Their submachine guns are not cheap. Feng Lun can't afford them. In addition, if these guns want to flow into our city, they also need someone. Which group is the boss of helping secretly? Wei Tiancheng of Huishan. Han Qian shrugged, he was not surprised at all, and then Guandegu continued with a strange expression. Then things got a little interesting. The person who secretly helped Wei Tiancheng was Feng's Haida, and then all the bullets from the gun hit him. My master has no conclusive evidence. I can only tell you these things. The master made some calculations and found out that Feng Lun probably wanted revenge, and Wei Tiancheng wanted to get a handle on the Yamanman. Later, he blamed the gun on my master, and now my master insists that he gave Feng Lun the gun in the hotel. It's an imitation gun and a steel ball shooter. Even if he is convicted, it will only be a few months. Han Qian replied after hearing this. Then Feng Lun tricked Wei Tiancheng. Guandegu curled his lips and said. Not really. Wei Tiancheng didn't plan to let Feng Lun live. It's not a good thing. But be careful. I guess Feng Lun is just afraid that Wei Tiancheng will find him, so he started to use you now. Anyway, Brother Han, you have become a popular figure in the circle. Yesterday I watched The Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and there was a saying in it, a crouching dragon and a phoenix can make peace with the world. Then Liu Bei still lost after having two. Don't be ridiculous. I think these guys want to deal with me. Recently, some people are about to lose their jobs. Our city will be reshuffled soon. I tell your master to ignore Wei Tiancheng. One more thing, that girl Wei Tiancheng seems to be deliberately trying to get close to you. Han Qian closed his eyes and sighed. He just wanted to get a divorce, and then make some money to honor his parents. Why did he become a troublemaker now? He leaned weakly on the seat and said softly. Conditions. What are your master's conditions? Give me extra lessons for my eldest lady. You go find Tong Yao. She is anxious to make money. I don't have time. Now I am upset by Feng Lun. Will you send me to the company? Actually, I don't want to give it away. Let's go and have some drinks. I've been feeling very tired lately. I'm tired of you, second uncle. Just watch less Jing Palace dramas and more cartoons. When the car stopped at the door of the company, Han Qian didn't dare to get out of the car. Yang Lan stood at the door of the company with his waist pinched, apparently to block him. Han Qian asked Guandegu in a low voice. Would you like to have a drink? Guan Yunbiao replied honestly. I can't go. My master called. Brother Han, can I help you get out of the car? Is it okay to be kicked out of the car? After getting off the car, Han Qian stood at the bottom of the steps and looked up at Yang Lan. Today, Sister Yang has a very strong aura. She is wearing a black leather short skirt, a pair of silk stockings underneath, a pair of long boots that go above the knees, and a black leather jacket. Let alone Lu Zhuolong, dressing up like this, the boys in the company can't handle it, right? Anyway, Han Qian couldn't bear it anymore. Yang Lan pinched his waist with one hand and pointed at Han Qian with the other and said angrily. Come up here. Han Qian shook his head and replied weakly. If you don't twist my ears, I will go up. Then the two of us just spend time here. When the two were in a stalemate, Han Qian found a few guys squatting behind the vases in the hall. Are these guys very idle? Suliang squatted behind the vase with half of his body exposed. Dakianir's arms were pressed on his shoulders. Han Qian saw the two guys facing each other. The one in the brown suit should be Lu Zhuolong, and the one in the floral dress should be Lu Zhuolong. It was Shan Shan, looking at the snacks Sul Yang was carrying. Not surprisingly, Yang Jia is also here. Sul Yang held his chin with one hand and whispered. He won't be able to escape today. The nose that Mr. Yan scolded Sister Yang in the general department was not a nose, and the eyes were not eyes. If Sister Yang doesn't take it out on him today, my surname is not Su. After finishing her words, little Sister Yang continued. Let me tell you, Mr. Yan and Minister Ji came together, and Mr. Ji was in a very good mood. Mr. Yan's face turned black, and he even threw the stuffed rabbit on my table to the ground and stepped on it. My sister was already scolded when she went to Mr. Yan's office. Originally, Brother Chiener arrived before 9:30 and the matter was over, but now it's past 10 o'clock. Sul Yang sighed softly, and when he turned his head, he saw Lu Zhulong holding a pair of pliers in his hand, and the corners of Sul Yang's eyes twitched. Deputy Lu, it's not necessary, is it? Lu Zhulong gritted his teeth and whispered. As for that, my Lanlan's hands are weak, Liang go and see if there are enough for 5 cars. Divide this evil carless person into pieces. Then De Chiener started counting with his fingers. My McLaren, Deputy Liu's Accord, Sister Yang's Bora, Mr. Yan's Raptor, and Minister Ji's BMW, that's enough. If Han Chien knew that these guys were studying how to kill him, he would definitely rush up the steps. Yang Lan gritted his teeth and glared at Han Chien, saying angrily. Bad boy, you can't get up. Han Chien shouted. I'm just a bastard who is determined to eat the weights. If you don't pinch me, I won't go up. After hearing this, Yang Ian's expression changed instantly, she narrowed her eyes and smiled softly at Han Chien. Xiao Chien, I won't twist your ears. Come here and let me care. I believe you, you idiot. That bad old lady is very bad. In one sentence, Han Chien caused public outrage. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 224. Yang Lan grabbed Han Chien's ear and walked to the general department. Lu Zhulong and Sul Yang followed behind, kicking Han Chien's butt alternately. How dare you call our beloved Sister Yang a spoiled old woman? Crazy Chiao. Sister Yang followed behind and took the video. Entering the office, Lu Zhulong took a bicycle lock from somewhere, put it through Han Chien's waistband and locked him in the chair. Lan, you go ahead and scold him. He can't run away now. Lan, you look like a 18-year-old. Roll. Yang Lan shouted angrily, and Lu Zhulong turned around and left without any hesitation. He was so skillful that it made people feel distressed. Sul Yang looked at Han Chien and said with a cruel smile. Sister Yang, my younger brother suggested giving him some water. I don't believe he can go to the toilet with a chair. Dakian pinched his chin and whispered. Sister Yang, I heard that Brother Chiener hates gay men. I think we should show him some pornographic TV now. How about we draw Chiener in women's clothing? Seize bamboo shoots? Is this all taking away bamboo shoots? Han Chien didn't say a word. A real man would rather die than surrender. It is impossible to surrender and lose half. Surrendering was useless anyway. When the big guys were thinking about how to take out Han Chien's anger, Xiao Yangjia received the imperial edict from above. Looking at the message on his phone, Xiao Yangjia whispered awkwardly. Sister, Mr. Yan wants Han Chien to go downstairs and guard the door. 10 minutes later, Han Chien was sitting at the main entrance of the first floor with his legs crossed. Within half an hour, the people were gone and the chairs were gone. An hour later, this guy appeared in the public relations department. He simply had no place to go. He sat in Wanfang's seat in the public relations department and watched a movie. Sister Jialang stood aside angrily, and Miss Yalai faced Han Qian. Smiled. Young Master Han, please stop bullying Sister Wan Wan and be more generous. Xian put a can of Red Bull on Han Qian's table and said with a smile. Mr. Han, could it be that he has taken a liking to our family's Wan Wan? Han Qian picked up the Red Bull and handed it to Wan Fang, who said coldly. I don't drink. You're shameless, I want you to open it for me. Wan Fang felt bad all over. Why was this man so stingy? Didn't he just press his shoulder? But I still took the Red Bull and opened it. Drinking Red Bull and watching a movie, Yalai girl walked up and said softly. Young Master Han, I heard that you went to see a movie with Minister Ji yesterday. And you gave Minister Ji a big rabbit half the height of a man. Han Qian was slightly startled and said doubtfully. How do you know? After saying this, Xian chuckled. I'm right behind you. I told Yang Jia this morning. Han Qian sighed feebly. Then it's over, the whole world knows. I watched 2 movies in the public relations department. At noon, Miss Yalai went to have dinner with Sul Yang. Wan Fang seemed to be deliberately angry with him. She ordered a KFC and sat next to him to eat. Han Qian was so greedy that he couldn't bear it in the end. Unable to hold on any longer, he whispered. Don't you get fat after eating so much? I won't let you touch me. Do you care whether I'm fat or not? Han Qian was defeated. Wan Fang seemed to have found a way to deal with Han Qian. She turned around and slowly put her black stocking calves together, narrowing her eyes and smiling. Mr. Han, I heard that you are still a virgin. In fact, you don't know. A fleshy girl is trying to please you in bed. You're as skinny as a skeleton. I'm eating. The pigs think so, too. Young Master Han, you definitely don't understand. Do you want me to teach you? What? You pee standing up too? Wan Fang was defeated again. At this time, Han Qian's phone rang, and it was Li Jinhai again. When he answered the phone, he only heard a few simple words. I'm in Yan Qingqing's office. Come over here and I'll catch you. Have to. The Lord of Hell is here. Han Qian stood up and picked up a hamburger in front of Wan Fang that she had never touched before, bent down, and whispered. I have a gunshot wound on my shoulder. Do you think the pinch you gave me was worth a slap in the face? I took the hamburger, knowing that you bought it for me. Wan Fang, who was drinking Coke, was stunned on the spot. Gunshot wound? This is a word that has only been heard on TV or in novels. She suddenly shivered, remembering her recklessness that day, not to mention a slap in the face, she deserved even 10 slaps. Seeing Han Qian was about to walk out of the public relations department, Wan Fang shouted. Master Han, the hamburger costs 12 yuan. I have no money. In Mr. Yan's office, Li Jinhai sat on the sofa and looked at Han Qian. The two had been in a stalemate for a while, and finally Li Jinhai sighed softly. Han Qian, are your injuries healed? Second uncle, you are hypocritical. Han Qian grinned playfully, and Li Jinhai closed his eyes and smiled bitterly, saying softly. Yesterday we used many methods to contact the numbers Feng Lun left for you, but they were all empty. We also followed the express delivery to find the delivery place. There was no such person at all, and the number was also fake. Yesterday, Cheng Jin, I went to see you and scolded you at my house for more than an hour. This matter is ultimately the fault of the Yeomanman. We will compensate you, but not too much. We can only reward you with a little money in the name of providing information. The medical expenses were reimbursed. Han Qian smiled and said softly. How much can I get? Give me the ransom. Li Jinhai shook his head. It's not that much. 100,000 is already the limit. Cheng Jin had to bite the bullet and took out half of it from his own pocket. Although he was very angry yesterday, it was not for you, but for the disappointment of the Yeomanman, and for Feng Lun. The hatred, after all, a hostage died. Where did the gun come from if you don't check? Speaking of this matter, Li Jinhai raised his head and laughed at himself. Someone surrendered the day after the incident. A guy who made some money by trading stocks. We were all relieved at that time. Yesterday. Just yesterday, this person was diagnosed with terminal liver cancer. At this point, Li Jinhai's face became ferocious, and he punched the coffee table. Cracks immediately appeared on the coffee table. Li Jinhai gritted his teeth and said angrily, "There are still people behind this matter to this day." Yan Qingqing stood up in her place. Han Qian shook his head at her, and then said softly, "Continue the investigation or close the case. The gun smuggling case has been closed. The investigation into Feng Lun's matter continues. The government office has found out the information you gave. Han Qian, tell your second uncle that even if they expose each other on the spot, even if it is false, how many people are involved? I don't know how many people there are. I know that you were also recommended by others that you had committed manslaughter. The death of the lobby manager and Feng Haida's death frightened many people. No one would believe what they said in order to survive." Li Jinhai sighed and stood up, closed his eyes and swayed, and said softly, "The money will be delivered in the afternoon, and we will also announce it to the outside world. We hope that more people will join the team of providing clues. Is it useful if I don't agree? The name will be kept secret. Then many people will guess it's me. We will protect you." After Li Jinhai left, Han Qian stepped on the coffee table and the coffee table shattered. Han Qian looked at the coffee table and curled his lips. Shit relatives. 2 updates today. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 225. Not long after Li Jinhai left, someone actually came to give money. However, this guy and Han Qian were not so friendly. When they were in the hospital, this guy was asking Han Qian aggressively. He didn't look good when he came to give money today. He was transferred to the area to work as a film police officer for a few days, and now he was transferred back to work as a civilian. He threw the money on the sofa and muttered something dirty. Han Qian was too lazy to talk to him, or he didn't have time to talk to him now. The coffee table was broken, and so was the tea set on the table. Yan Qingqing told Han Qian to clean up all the glass debris, so there would be no need to pay. Neither of them paid attention to the paper bag on the sofa. The money was not considered a burial. It was a reward for attracting firepower to the Yeomanman. Now there are only 2 people who have the clues to the Yeomanman. One is Feng Lun, who has not yet been arrested and brought to justice. One is Han Qian. These 2 guys have mastered the secret, but Han Qian's threat to the Yeomanman is not high. After all, he has no reason or responsibility to expose everything. But these people spying on secrets were not safe. The Yeomanman also wanted to see who wanted to provoke Han Qian. They also guessed that there was someone behind Feng Lun, and then started investigating him, in case they could touch him. Any clues? As for not moving Feng Haiden now, he is also thinking about whether he can seduce Feng Lun back. Feng Haida is the bait, and so is Han Qian. That's why Han Qian scolded him as a shit relative. Seeing Han Qian squatting on the ground with one hand to clean up the glass debris, Yan Qingqing called Yang Jia and asked her to come and help instead of going to the general department to be lazy. After hanging up the phone, Yan Qingqing held her chin with one hand and looked at Han Qian, asked softly with an expressionless face. "You are short of this 100,000 now? There is no need to take risks for this little money, right?" Han Qian, who was squatting on the ground, sighed softly. $1 is good to me now, and I can't refuse this money. Yesterday, Cheng Jin asked the firefighters and sanitation people to come to your place, and also to Wen Nuan. This clearly told me that the Yamankauer is not someone to be bullied, and the result will be the same whether he accepts the money or not. Yan Qingqing shrugged and said again. Then you will tell Wen Nuan that Li Jinhai dug a hole for you. No, Wen Nuan and I rarely talk about these things. After all, Li Jinhai is her uncle. It's okay for me to know some things myself. There is no need to make it known to everyone. Besides, Li Jinhai doesn't have these colorful things in his head. There are more people from the Yamanmen, and there are quite a few people from the Yamanmen who hope that I die in an accident. After saying this, Yan Qingqing stood up suddenly, with an evil look on her face, and said angrily in a low voice. You mean you're in danger? Han Qian grinned. It's to be expected. After all, everyone thinks I have everything under control. While the two were talking, little Yang Jia quietly pushed the door open and came in without knocking. It was hard to suspect that she didn't want to eavesdrop or peek at something, but she only saw the debris on the floor. The shards of glass on the ground made little Yang Jia's head feel a little uncomfortable. She stood at the door in shock for a long time, muttering something in a low voice that these were too passionate. I don't know what's inside her little head. The more he explained to her, the more confused he became, so just let her think as she pleased, turned around, picked up the paper bag on the sofa, put it on Yan Qingqing's table, and said softly. Bring me 2,000. Why do you need so much? Nuan has gone back to her parents' house. I don't know if she will come back today. I have to keep some food money in my hand. Are you sure you didn't use the money to buy rabbits for Jijing? Are you jealous too? Yan Qingqing rolled her eyes, took out the money in the bag one by one and put it in her handbag. Then she took out the red wallet and counted 2,000 yuan and handed it to Han Qian. Yan Qingqing squinted at Han Qian. He pouted. Han Daxian is very leisurely. You eat Korean noodles, watch movies, and catch dolls. Why didn't I realize that you still have this mood? Han Qian took the money and said with a smile. If a little girl like you sees through it easily, I will no longer be Han Daxian. Okay, stop bragging. I've saved this 100,000 for you. If you run out of pocket money, come to me and ask for it. Don't always let Nuan give you money. After all, she is the ex-wife and I am the boss. I will give it to you. Money is the right thing to do. Then give me your salary. Get lost. After saying that, Yan Qingqing stood up and motioned for Han Qian to sit with her first. She was going out to do some business. As soon as Yan Qingqing left, Xiao Yangjia immediately called the company's cleaning staff and asked them to come over and clean up. Han Qian asked with an ambiguous expression across the table. Brother Qianer, you and Mr. Yan seem to be a couple now, and you are flirting with Minister Ji again. Brother Qianer, do you want to have 3 wives and 4 concubines? How can you do that with your small body? Han Qian tidied up the mess left by Yan Qingqing and cursed softly. Third wife, which one of your eyes can see that Mr. Yan and I look like husband and wife? Didn't Mr. Yan also say that she is my boss? The sweet little husband of the cool and charming female CEO. How about I tell Mr. Yan that you are very free and lower your bonus? You are my biological brother. Mr. Yan is a sister-in-law. We are the same family. Xiao Yangjia stepped back while talking and disappeared behind the door. Within a few minutes, the cleaning staff came and began to clean up the glass fragments in the office. Han Qian held a pen in his left hand and drew circles on the documents until 3 in the afternoon. Han Qian neatly arranged the documents and tidied up Yan Qingqing's desk, curious about what her home was like. But it seems that no girl invited him to the other party's home. Just think about it. In the afternoon, Yan Qingqing called and said that she went home directly from get off work. By the way, she asked, have you finished processing the documents on the table? This bitch is just lazy. Han Qian always thinks that he is cheap and doesn't have many plans in mind to make him do hard work. Instead, he thinks it is a kind of trust. Trust in ability, trust in character. After get off work, Han Qian stood up, closed the door and left the office. On the way out, Nuan called. Brother Qian, my mother asked me to stay at home for a few days. She said she missed me. I saw that she has been calling the office at the Yamen. Brother Qian, are you in any danger? I'm going to sneak away. Go back. Han Qian held the phone and closed his eyes and smiled. It's just a little troublesome, not to mention dangerous. If Vice President Wen's ex-husband can't even deal with this problem, wouldn't it be embarrassing for you to tell him? You stay at home for one night today, and I'll pick you up tomorrow. Don't talk to mom. If you quarrel, be obedient. Then what will you eat if I don't go home? Han Qian took off his earphones and looked at the number on it. Is this warm? How did she say this so shamelessly? Han Qian whispered into the phone. I can eat when you're not at home, but if you're at home I can only eat bombs. Hate it, my teacher can go and cook for you at home. How about I ask Tong Yao to find you? Are you worried that I won't cheat and feel uncomfortable? I hate it, go ahead and eat crabs. Just go hungry. There is money in the drawer at home. I don't think Yan Qingqing will pay you even if you work like this. The guess was quite accurate. When Han Qian walked out of the company and was thinking about taking a taxi, a 2 million Passat parked in front of him. The window rolled down, and Wei Bushan's head came out and he towards Han Qian. Smiled. Brother Qian, my father has invited me. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 226. Wei Bujuan was sitting in the passenger seat with his feet on the console. His skirt slipped down to reveal the safety pants underneath. This little girl, Han Qian didn't know how to evaluate it. He just felt that this girl seemed to be right. He lost interest. This is the result Han Qian wants to get, one less person and one person cleaner. Old Boatman. A place that mainly eats seafood. The corners of Han Qian's mouth raised slightly. Wei Tiancheng really knew how to choose a place. Han Qian stopped when he took a step, turned to look at Wei Busang, and asked doubtfully. You won't go in? Wei Bujuan, who wore smoky makeup and big earrings, pouted while holding a lollipop in his mouth. What do you adults have to do with my child? How about you marry me? Tuition will be yours. Then I have to see how many brothers you have. Han Qian pouted and walked into the hotel. As soon as he entered, he was greeted by an enchanting young woman. She was wearing a cheongsam with the hem slit to her waist. Her fair skin could be seen through the black tulle. The young woman reached out to hold Han Qian's arm. He was rejected by Han Qian when he asked for his arm. I'm injured. Director Wei wants you to come pick me up. The enchanting young woman was not embarrassed even after being rejected. She covered her mouth and smiled sweetly. Young Master Han is here for your appointment. It would be against the rules if I don't come out to pick you up. Please, young Master Han. After saying this, the enchanting young woman walked in front and led the way. Her plump body twisted and twisted, making Han Qian sway a little. It seemed that no man could resist such a woman. Only ripe, not green, just like a ripe peach. This is not something that the two young girls, Wen Nuan and Yan Qingqing, can compare with. Ji Jing is also inferior. Walking all the way to the innermost private room, the enchanting young woman opened the bamboo curtain, and Han Qian saw the legendary Wei Tiancheng. Looking at Wei Tiancheng sitting in the main guard, there was only one word in Han Qian's mind. Handsome. So handsome. Han Qian didn't know how to describe him. He had short hair, a suit, a little stubble, and a pair of glasses. He was elegant. Is he Wei Tiancheng who fought against Tu Xiao in the first place? No matter how you look at it, he looks like a doctor or a weak scholar. Wei Tiancheng did not stand up, but smiled at Han Qian, then frowned at the enchanting young woman with slight dissatisfaction. You haven't asked Mr. Han to sit down yet. It's all my fault for being too pampered to you. The enchanting young woman looked at Wei Tiancheng with eyes full of intoxication. As long as she saw Wei Tiancheng, she could not tolerate anyone in her eyes. She loved him to her core. Han Qian smiled and sat across from Wei Tiancheng, laughing softly. I don't dare bother madam. Lady. Wei Tiancheng was slightly startled, then pointed at the enchanting young woman and smiled. She's not even a mistress. A little envious. The most important thing is that this young woman didn't feel anything was wrong at all, and sat obediently next to Wei Tiancheng. I'm so envious. At this time, the enchanting young woman gave Han Qian a cup of tea, stood up and smiled. I'll go get them served. When he stood up, Wei Tiancheng patted her buttocks. The young woman squeaked and trotted away with a red face. Han Qian and Wei Tiancheng were left in the private room, and the latter smiled at Han Qian. Young Master Han likes it? Then I will ask her to wash it and wait for you. Han Qian was stunned for a moment, then smiled. It's not my style to steal people's beauty. Director Wei didn't come today simply to show off that he is your confidant, right? There is no need to be polite to him, and there is no need to lower one's status too low. He is rich, powerful, and beautiful, but what does this have to do with Han Qian? I'm not trying to get you anything. Han Qian took out the cigarette left by Cheng Jin was handed to Wei Tiancheng, who smiled and shook his head. I didn't ask Miao Miao to come here today just to show off. Compared with you, Mr. Han, the women around me can't do anything with you. I don't smoke. I heard that Mr. Han drinks, so I specially asked Miao Miao to come and drink with Mr. Han. Han Qian shrugged, neither saying yes nor saying bad. The food is served. The waiter handed it to Miao Miao first, and then placed it on the table. The table was full of seafood, salmon, sea urchin, abalone, sea cucumber, ice shrimp, etc., all of which were paired with a bottle of mutai. Miao Miao poured 2 glasses, picked up the wine glass and smiled charmingly. Master Han, I'd like to toast you. You already rejected me once before entering the house, but you can't refuse me again. Han Qian was slightly embarrassed. He really didn't want to drink this glass of wine, but he had to drink it. When he went to pick up the glass behind him, a familiar voice came from outside. Hello, I would like to ask if there is a man here with his arm wrapped in bandages and hung around his neck, a short man less than 1.8 meters tall, with a hat on his head. This voice was so familiar that Han Qian put down his wine glass and stood up and shouted. Strange, nursery rhyme, here I am. After saying this, he looked at Wei Tiancheng and smiled apologetically. Sorry, my friend may be worried about my injury. Wei Tiancheng smiled lightly. Since you are Mr. Han's friend, why don't Miao Miao invite this lady over? Like a little maid, Miao Miao took Wei Tiancheng's words as an edict. Within a few seconds, nursery rhymes appeared on the dinner table. Han Qian found that the nursery rhymes were becoming more and more beautiful. She wears black high-waisted leggings pants and a white sweater on her upper body. The hem of the sweater is hidden inside the pants, making her lower body appear slender. She has a simple ponytail, a little makeup, and a warm gift in her hand. Her bag. Today's monster is a bit more capable. Tanjio smiled slightly at Wei Tiancheng, then frowned and said angrily when she looked at Han Qian. Nuan called me and asked me to take you home. I went to your company and found out you were picked up by Yi. I asked Yi again and found out you were here. After saying this, he turned to Wei Tiancheng and stretched out his hand, smiling. Hello, Mr. Wei, I am Wei Yi's Chinese teacher and also Han Qian's friend. I rushed over anxiously because I was worried about her injuries. Please forgive me for disturbing you. Wei Tiancheng stood up and smiled. It turns out that she is my daughter's teacher. I'm sorry. I'm disrespectful. My daughter has caused you a lot of trouble at school. Please forgive me. Meow meow, go get a pair of bowls and chopsticks. Just as Meow Meow was about to leave, nursery rhymes kept coming. No need to bother, no need to bother, I can just use his. He doesn't eat any seafood anyway. As soon as these words came out, Wei Tianquan's face became a little embarrassed. Han Qian doesn't eat seafood. Han Qian smiled bitterly at Wei Tiancheng, nodded, and said softly. Allergy. This made Meow Meow a little embarrassed. How could she toast if the food didn't suit her taste? Tong Yao was not polite at all. After eating one sea urchin, she reached out to get the second one. Han Qian lightly stepped on the toe of her high-heeled shoes under the table. Tong Yao was about to fall out on the spot, but when she turned around, she found Han Qian looking at the wine glass in front of her. Tong Yao smiled, reached for the wine glass and smiled at Wei Tiancheng. Mr. Wei, today I am just Han Qian's friend. She is injured and cannot drink. Should I drink this drink together or should I be punished with 2 drinks first? This is 3 taels of white wine. Are you punished with 2 drinks if you open your mouth? As for why he was not punished with 3 drinks, Han Qian didn't understand the meaning behind it. Tong Yao gently raised the wine glass, drank it all in one gulp, then stared at the empty glass in front of Wei Tiancheng and whispered. Mr. Wei, don't you drink? Meow Meow continued after the words fell. He doesn't drink. After finishing her drink, Meow Meow put down the cup and smiled with her eyes narrowed. I feel sorry for my man. Tong Yao curled her lips. With her profession and temperament, she couldn't bear to see women dressed in revealing clothes. Wei Tiancheng ignored the 2 women and whispered to Han Qian. I heard that young Master Han was shot in the shoulder. Han Qian smiled lightly. Luckily he didn't die. Nursery Rhyme lowered her head and was eating, and Meow Meow was eating too. Neither woman was interested in their conversation. Wei Tiancheng smiled and nodded. I have heard about young Master Han's heroic deeds, but young Master Han said just now that he doesn't like to take advantage of others. This seems to be somewhat different from what I know. Han Qian smiled. Are you talking about Feng Lun's little information, or the high-performance lighter? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 227. Wei Tiancheng was stunned for a moment, then laughed. Master Han, you are indeed a wonderful person. When did Vice President Gao fall into your hands? Han Qian shrugged and curled his lips. You. Director Wei, you haven't drunk yet. Vice President Gao and I are as close as brothers, we are just a lighter. Oh. Mr. Han doesn't know that the lighter was given by Vice President Gao as a gift from his deceased sister. I know, that's why I wanted to save it for him. Who knows, Qian Ling said it was of great significance, and she never said where the lighter came from. But now Han Qian is crazy, he has the capital to be crazy, and now Han Qian is a bastard who is determined to eat the weights. As long as something happens to him, he will go to the Yamanman to cry, make trouble, and hang himself. If it doesn't work, he will blow himself up together with everyone. Death, it depends on whether Cheng Jin, Niu Qiudong, and Li Jinhai can bear it. As for telling Feng Lun's secret, Han Qian was testing it because he still didn't know why Wei Tiancheng came to him. Wei Tiancheng didn't mention a word about Feng Lun, but he talked about Tu Xiao and Han. Qian honestly confessed that he was very close to Tu Xiao, and at the same time he was angry about Wei Busong's incident, and that such a thing would not happen again in the future. Wei Tiancheng smiled slightly. Young Master Han and the eldest lady of the Wen family have been divorced for some time, but have you found the girl you like? Han Qian shrugged and laughed at himself. The girl you like? Director Wei, I'm worried that you'll send the recording to Nuan, making it sound like I've had a change of heart. This is not advisable. Wei Tiancheng laughed. Master Han, you have wrongly blamed me for this. How old is Master Han this year? 25. Wei Tiancheng suddenly sighed. My daughter is 19. Han Qian nodded and smiled. It's time to take the college entrance examination, so you should study hard. Wei Tiancheng sighed again. Hey. Yes, think about my wife, she married me when she was 19. It seems that if you are 19 now, you can't get a certificate. It's not impossible to get married first and get the certificate later. It's good for a man to be a few years older and know how to take care of others. Besides, my daughter has been well educated by my father and doesn't mind a man having 3 wives and 4 concubines. Then you have to find a capable man. I think young Master Han is very capable. I won't do it. Puff. 2 glasses of wine, 2 women, 2 men. Tanjio was wiping Han Qian's face, and Miao Miao was wiping Wei Tiancheng's collar. Han Qian's answer was so shocking that both women sprayed their drinks on the person opposite. Wei Tiancheng didn't mean to be angry at all, and whispered in Tao. Master Han, my daughter's appearance, figure, background, and family affairs are all very good. Han Qian wiped his face with a tissue and laughed. It's true that you're more lively when you're not full. So what does Master Han think of my daughter, or what do I, Wei Tiancheng, think of my family property? It will all be yours from now on. Han Qian was slightly startled after hearing this, and then clapped his legs and shouted. You want Wei Buseo to recognize me as your brother? Do I have to call you godfather? Wei Tiancheng, I treat you like a friend, but you actually want to be my father. Wei Tiancheng was stunned, Tanjio was also stunned, and Miao Miao was also stunned. This brain circuit? After talking for a long time, he didn't even understand? Han Qian reached out and took a shrimp, took off the shrimp head and threw it into his mouth, then stood up and left. Tong Yao smiled apologetically at Wei Tiancheng, got up and chased after him. Just as Miao Miao was about to comfort Wei Tiancheng, the latter raised his hand to stop Miao Miao and sneered. You pretended to be stupid and refused me? Do you really think that Wei Tiancheng's things are so easy to take away? What does he mean by eating a shrimp? In a taxi, Tong Yao leaned against Han Qian with some dizziness and whispered. Don't you see what Wei Tiancheng means? He wants you to be his son-in-law. Han Qian nodded and smiled. I know that if I reject him, he will find other reasons. Anyway, there is no hope of contacting him in the future, so why not just draw a clear line and send you home first? Tong Yao squinted at Han Qian and curled her lips. Otherwise, how about we have an affair while Wen Nuan is not at home? I can't lift it to you. Men seem to have an inherent advantage in playing hooligans. Tanjio asked Han Qian softly if his stomach was hurt. Han Qian didn't think much about it. As soon as he nodded, his lower abdomen suffered a heavy blow. Nursery rhymes got off the bus. Han Qian also got out of the car and took a walk, and went to a small noodle shop to eat a bowl of noodles. Just one bite was enough. Before he finished eating the noodles, Nuan called and nagged Han Qian. The phone was placed next to the bowl, and Han Qian pretended not to hear it until Nuan said he was tired and spoke angrily. You stay away from Wei Tiancheng from now on. Well, even if you don't tell me, I want to stay away from him. Today, I gave it to a woman first, and then to my daughter. I think he knew about the connection between Feng Lun and I. He was the first one. Will definitely not be the last one, I guess. There should be a lot of people interested in me recently. You pick me up tomorrow and I will accompany you to meet them. You are so arrogant. They blocked people at the door. My cooperation with Wei Tiancheng will stop during the meeting tomorrow. When Nuan's angry words were approved by Han Qian. It's okay to stop. This Wei Tiancheng's hands and feet are not very clean. Guan Degu also told me something today, by the way. What's going on with the shareholders of your company? Do they support you or Lin Zongheng? I still support Lin Zongheng more. Now it is certain that they will not be able to shake my position as vice president. It will be difficult to move forward. You have a department that belongs only to you. Yan Qingqing now has a general department that belongs only to her. I think the effect is good. Yan Hu is the general manager and I am the vice president. It's not that easy. Recently Lin Zongheng has an idea. He wants to acquire Yuanjia Kailong, which has been closed down for rectification. I don't know what the heck is going on. Just let him do it. I don't see any prospects anyway. What do you want to eat tonight? Crabs, shrimps, scallops, Brother Qian's crabs are really delicious. I'm going to buy crab roe buns for you tomorrow. I do not want to eat. I didn't ask for your opinion, Brother Qian. I want to go home, come and pick me up. Unknowingly, Wen Nuan has regarded the house in Imperial City Garden as her home. It was okay to live with Han Qian here in Xingjia Palace before, but Han Qian is not here. She is so lonely and bored. Han Qian is eating noodles. Wen Nuan is rolling around on the bed over there, holding her cell phone, and her toothache seems to be humming. After eating the noodles, Han Qian smiled. Tomorrow. If you're not at home, I won't go out and play mahjong. No more talk, I'll find someone to play mahjong. Go ahead, there is money in the drawer, don't go home and cry if you lose the money. Okay. After hanging up the phone, Han Qian dialed Qian Ling's number without even thinking and grinned. Auntie, can I go over and sit for a while? After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 228. Taking a taxi to Qian Ling's house, Qian Wan opened the door and ran back to the bedroom to play her game. The game occupied 99% of this girl's head. Qian Ling was watching TV in the living room, and Han Qian did not regard herself as an outsider. Changed into slippers and went to the refrigerator to find water, and said at the same time, Auntie, I met with Wei Tiancheng today. He asked someone to drive to the company entrance to block my way. Qian Ling turned her head and glanced at Han Qian, who was twisting the bottle cap with his teeth, and frowned. Why don't you just ask Wan Wan to unscrew it for you? Don't you want the tooth anymore? After unscrewing the bottle and drinking most of the bottle of water in one breath, Han Qian said with a ragged grin. De Qianer is more attentive in playing games. Why are you calling her? I think today Wei Tiancheng wants to show favor to me. First he offered to give me a woman named Meow Meow next to him. After I rejected him, he said you want me to be his aunt. Am I a hot potato now? Qian Ling curled her lips and said disdainfully. Are you proud? Wei Tiancheng, a smiling tiger, is best at being polite first and then fighting. You'd better be careful. I heard you called Feng Lun in front of Cheng Jin. While talking, Han Qian had already arrived in the living room, reached out and picked up a piece of fruit on the table, took a bite and mumbled. Well, at that time I felt that he was testing my ability to threaten the Yamanman and ask me for the criminal records of several people. But I seemed to have been tricked by him. I was a little impulsive and conceited at the time. I thought I wanted to put some pressure on the Yamanman, and I also wanted to make a deal to deal with Feng's Haida, but it seemed that I lost my temper and threw myself into it. Seeing Han Qian's sad face, Qian Ling couldn't help but smile. What happened? I gave Cheng Jin what he wanted. This guy just slapped his ass and left. Feng's Haida didn't have anything to do with it. Later, he came up with a reward for reporting and gave me 100,000 yuan, saying that he wanted the common people to provide it. Feng Lun's clues, and then Wei Tiancheng came tonight. Didn't this obviously expose me? I can't guess what the Yamanman means. Anyway, they seem to be using me. By the way, Aunt. I heard Guanda the dog told me that the gun was given to Feng Lun by Wei Tiancheng. Qian Ling curled her lips after hearing this, looked at the TV and spoke casually. It doesn't matter who gave it to you. Don't think that Tu Xiao is only good to you, and don't think that Wei Tiancheng is all bad. As soon as the incident happened, no one can predict what will happen next. Feng Lun, the information given to you should not be important. Now you have to show that you know everything in front of Cheng Jin. When you encounter trouble in the future, you can threaten him to help you, such as the business plan you gave Ching Ching, and for Glory Water Park, you can definitely go to Cheng Jin and ask the Yamanman to build momentum for the building materials mall. Oh. Auntie, do you think someone will come to kidnap me? It's very possible, but when you have Nuan Wen and Ching Ching by your side, almost no one would dare to take action. If you provoke these two, even if they have great abilities in the city, they won't be able to uncover the evidence. Then tell me what Li Jinhai thinks of me now. He probably couldn't withstand the pressure from above and had to push you out. Hasn't Wen Nuan been in your home recently? Auntie, God is calculating. Don't flatter me, be careful, stay in the guest room today, and let Wan Wan take you to the company tomorrow morning. Oh. Staying at Qian Ling's place at night, Han Qian's mind went blank. When he woke up at dawn, the haze in his heart had completely disappeared. Work. We were finally not late, but everyone in the company didn't want Han Qian to come so early, because someone was making trouble. In the lobby on the first floor of the company, a woman and a child were lying on the ground wailing. A child of 13 or 14 had the words "kill to pay for life" on his chest. Han Qian and Qian Wan walked into the main entrance with curiosity on their faces, looking at the naughty couple with doubts. Han Qian patted Gao Xing's shoulder in front of him, pinched his chin and said doubtfully, "Vice President Gao, what's going on? Our honor is a regular company, right?" Gao Xing was slightly startled, turned around and pushed Han Qian away. "What kind of company? This is here to find you. You should go out and avoid the limelight. We have already called the police." "Looking for me? Did I kill someone?" Han Qian's voice was loud. As soon as he finished speaking, the rolling woman fell silent for an instant. She weighed 200 kilograms and rushed towards Han Qian, shouting that Han Qian should pay for his life. Like a small tank charging high before he could recover, his body was knocked far away in an instant. He felt as if he had been hit by a car. Just when he was about to call the security guard, the sign saying "life pays for life" fell on his face. At this time, Han Qian was knocked down by the little tank. Once again, the woman sat on Han Qian's body and tore Han Qian's clothes, mouthing. Li roared. "You killed my husband, how can you let us orphans and widows live?" At this time, Han Qian, who was riding on him, had guessed it and waved his left arm to fight back. At this time, the security captain had already rushed over and pulled the woman away forcefully. As soon as the woman was pulled away, Han Qian stood up and the little boy hit Han Qian on the back with a chair in his hand. The next second, Qian Wan raised his leg and put it on the little boy's chest. Seeing that her son was beaten, the obese woman threw away the security captain and rushed towards Qian Wan. As a result, she was slapped on the face before she could run a few steps. The woman was stunned. Han Qian pointed at the woman. He gritted his teeth and cursed angrily. "Your man cuckolded one of the gangsters, and the girl was killed. Why did you come to Glory to make a fuss? Call Call the police station immediately. If you let me know what you brought from the Yamen gate, if you still come here to make trouble after making amends, I won't let you go. Han Qian got really angry. This matter had nothing to do with the Glory Group, and it had nothing to do with him. Now this woman came to Glory to make trouble unreasonably, and tore off all the bandages on his shoulders, making him miserable. The woman stared blankly at Han Qian, then lay on the ground and started rolling around, crying, claiming that Han Qian had killed her man, and that she was going to sue Han Qian and report that Han Qian was one of the gangsters. Han Qian was too lazy to pay attention to this woman, so he pulled up a chair and waited for people from the police station to come over. 20 minutes later, the people arrived. Han Qian's face turned extremely gloomy when he saw the leader, the young policeman who interrogated him in the hospital. He always thought that Han Qian was innocent. He was targeted by several women and transferred out. Now he was doing all the dirty work. When he heard Glory calling the police, he put down what he was doing and came over. When he saw the woman rolling around, and when he saw Han Qian sitting in a panic on the chair, his eyes lit up, he cleared his throat and raised his voice. Someone called the police and reported that there is trouble here, Han Qian. Please come with us. When the words came out, everyone in the company was stunned. The severe pain in his shoulder made Han Qian lose his mind. He covered his bleeding shoulder and cursed angrily. You're so paralyzed that you're blind? Can't you see who is causing trouble? I'm an employee of Glory, and the person who caused trouble is that woman. If you want to retaliate with public opinion, I'll wait for you. The young policeman said with a cold face. If you insult public officials, take them all away. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 229. Han Qian and Little Tank were all taken away, as well as Qian Wan, who had done something to him. Gao Jingcheng also got in the car as a victim. When we arrived at the Yamenman, the matter was quickly figured out. It was because yesterday the Yamenman announced that there would be rewards for providing clues, and for reporting officials at the Yamenman for meritorious service. A citizen named Han received the reward. The news about Han Qian was released instantly, and the woman came to see Han Qian. There is no special purpose, just asking for money. Her reason is also convincing. Han Qian once slapped her man in the face before the crime. This news was also the source of suspicion at the Yamen gate of Han Qian. At that time, someone heard that the dead lobby manager had expelled Feng Lun, and it was Han Qian who came forward to keep Feng Lun. Later, this suspicion was rejected by the Yamen gate. Feng Lun is the leader of these gangsters, and it is because of his presence that he can calm these gangsters to avoid causing more casualties. A bit far-fetched. Han Qian was sitting on a chair with handcuffs. In the meeting room at the Yamenman, Cheng Jin had already arrived. Li Jinhai and many officials from the Yamenman were here. Feng Lun was responsible for whether Han Qian was Feng Lun's accomplice. Go be a red face, and this Han Qian is responsible for playing a bad face. It was people from the Procuratorate who raised this suspicion. Because of Feng Haida's relationship, they very much hoped that Han Qian would be guilty. As soon as this suggestion was made, Li Jinhai spoke immediately. Fart, Han Qian has no motive for committing the crime. He wants money and power. His wife is the vice president of Changxiang, his father-in-law is a shareholder, and his mother-in-law is a civilian in the army. He has no reason to commit a crime. Besides, you guys, I also know the injuries on Han Qian's body. After the words fell, a prosecutor from the Procuratorate who was promoted by Feng Haida said coldly. Director Li, as far as I know, Han Qian and Vice President Wen have divorced. They are no longer husband and wife. Maybe Han Qian is desperate. Li Jinhai slammed the table and said angrily. You have all seen the hotel surveillance of Yuanzhi Kailong, and you have also seen the scene where Han Qian and the gangsters were fighting. If they were accomplices, why did they kill each other, and why did they let Wen Wen and Yan Qingqing leave the scene of the crime? Han Qian's the injuries are now recorded in the hospital, and he can completely escape, there is no reason to stay here. Then how do you explain that he attacked the deceased Zhao Zhou before the incident to protect Feng Lun? With so many people present, who would have known that Feng Lun was a gangster? Some of you were also present at the time. Did you see it? No matter what, Han Qian should bear the responsibility. He had weapons in his hands at the time and could have protected Feng's Haida from harm. But he only protected women. Why can't he understand that the purpose of his cooperation with Feng Lun was to please these women? The prosecutor was young, about 31 or 12 years old, with red lips, white teeth, and a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. He looked very kind, but his words did not sound very nice, and even Cheng Jin frowned. Li Jinhai looked at the young prosecutor coldly and said coldly, "Tukang, you were outside the hotel when the crime occurred that day. Why didn't you go in when you were negotiating with the gangsters? Han Qian is just an ordinary citizen, and you let him fight with the gangsters? Why? Why the hell are you telling me?" Du Kong sneered. "Han Qian used to be your nephew and son-in-law. Director Li must have defended Han Qian. How can you believe Feng Lun's words? Could it be that most of the employees in our Yamanmen are suspected of crimes? Why can Han Qian be contacted? Feng Lun, and we can't? We have done an investigation and found out that this Han Qian has violated the law, has violent tendencies, and is very close to Tu Xiao from the 8th district. Convict him first, and other things can be investigated slowly." When these words came out, Li Jinhai was so angry that he turned blue. He turned to look at Cheng Jin, his eyes full of anger. The exposure of Han Qian's identity was the attention of Cheng Jin and his group. Now he wanted to see what Cheng Jin said. Cheng Jin didn't even look at Li Jinhai. He crossed his fingers on the table, looked at Prosecutor Du Kong and said softly, "Prosecutor Du, I want to ask you, the Yamanman, that if someone has violated the law and been convicted of a crime, we should look at them with colored glasses after they are released from prison or have a clear explanation. We are not going now. I'm confused about Han Qian, but I want to know whether the Procuratorate and all government offices discriminate against people who have been punished and released from prison after self-reflection. Now let's talk about Han Qian. What was the first crime he violated the law?" Du Kong didn't feel that he was wrong at all, he held his head high and said loudly. "He was prosecuted for extortion and misappropriation of company finances 3 years ago. Mayor Cheng, since the criminal record has been recorded, the crime will follow them for life. What's wrong?" Cheng Jin's face turned cold and he said in a deep voice, "Is a criminal record a stigma? A criminal record tells them that they will be affected in society after committing a crime, so that people who have not committed a crime can use it as a warning, so that they are not inferior to others, but you prosecutors are superior to others. I haven't investigated Feng's Haida's matter yet. It's unclear who is innocent and who is dirty. It doesn't mean that you are the prosecutor, but you are clean. What is the final result of Han Qian? Is Glory Vice President Wen Wen going to tell you that all the public funds and blackmail matters, or is it a misunderstanding? Did she allow Han Qian to do this in order to prove her ability and status in the company? Cut off the beginning and end, and take it out of context?" After saying this, Cheng Jin was still a little angry, stood up and said coldly, "What? None of you can find any information about Feng Lun? Now that Han Qian has contacted Feng Lun and obtained some evidence, you want to deal with Han Qian again? Are you worried that Han Qian has a handle on you? Or are you worried that Han Qian will get hold of you? Defending Feng's Haida? I don't care what you are thinking. As long as I, Cheng Jin, sit in this position for a day, I will clean up the Yamen. I won't let the disciplinary inspectors arrest people. The purpose I have does not mean that Feng's Haida is innocent. Yes, besides. Director Li, Please stop meddling in Han Qian's affairs and avoid suspicion. After hearing this, Du Kong said reluctantly. Mayor Chen, are you going to let Han Qian go now? We can't prove that he is guilty, but he can't prove that he is not guilty either. Cheng Jin looked at Du Kong coldly and said coldly. What do you do when a gangster assaults a girl with a gun? Du Kong said without thinking. Don't be impulsive, call the police calmly. Then during the time when you called the police, the gangster successfully violated the girl and killed her, what should you do? Du Kong was silent, and Cheng Jin continued. I'm asking you, if you were at the scene of the Yuanzhi Kailong incident and you had the chance to leave the hotel, you could also go back to save people. What would you do? When a dozen murderers pointed their guns at you, what would you do? Can you still maintain your composure and beat a gangster unconscious? When alone with Feng Lun, do you have the courage to stab Feng Lun's leg with a screwdriver? Do you have the courage to stab Feng Lun's leg with a screwdriver when you know you will be shot? Courage. When did you have the courage and do one of these things? Are you suspicious of a person who risked his life to help the Yeomanmen solve the case? The PoortoRich? It's time to investigate. As I said a long time ago, Cheng Jin is not easy to talk to. When he talked with Han Qian that day, he did not treat himself as a mayor. Although Han Qian was rude, he gave Cheng Jin everything he wanted, and he clearly understood he did not strongly refuse to resist despite knowing that his identity would be exposed. Du Kang's face was extremely ugly. He called Feng's Haida before he came. They discussed that Han Qian must be put in jail. They didn't realize the seriousness of the matter yet, and Feng's Haida didn't know that Han Qian knew everything he did. Cheng Jin walked out of the conference room, and Li Jinhai looked at Du Kong and said sarcastically. Rescue Feng's Haida? Is he worthy? Are you prosecutor worthy? Think about how to remove yourself first. Han Qian, who was handcuffed, lay on the ground and put his hands under his body to prevent anyone from touching him. He squinted at the guy who captured him and put the handcuffs on him and said indifferently. Officer Chen Chuang, arrest me if you say you want to arrest me. Let me go if you say let me go. I'm so sorry. Go and ask Cheng Jin to come over and untie me. Otherwise, don't blame me and the Yeomanmen for dying together. Come on. You are not the first. Are you jealous of me or doubting me when you see me for the first time? Throw me into prison. Chen Chuang's face looked ugly, and Han Qian curled his lips when he saw this. Stupid. Stupid. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 230. After saying these two words, the door was opened and Cheng Jin walked in. Looking at Han Qian lying on the ground, Cheng Jin frowned and smiled bitterly. Starting to act up. Seeing Cheng Jin coming, Han Qian turned over with difficulty, faced the roof and took a deep breath, and spoke with difficulty. My shoulder was scratched by that woman. It was already in severe pain, but now you have to wear this thing with me. Mr. Chen, I shouldn't be acting up. You don't know why I am acting up? If you want information, I will give you the information. And then who are you trying to seduce by asking me to be the bait? Didn't Li Jinhai say that the gun case has been closed? What did you call me, little bastard? As soon as he finished speaking, Li Jinhai walked in with a gloomy face. When he saw Li Jinhai, Han Qian howled. Second uncle, you are here. I will be tortured to death by them whether you are here or not. My shoulders are about to fall off. If you don't care about me, I admit it. I will call Li Er. Someone is bullying this poor guy. Brother-in-law. Mentioning Li Er, Li Jinhai's head buzzed. If this little brat knew that Han Qian was being bullied here, this little brat would be a bigger bastard than Han Qian. He would dare to rush over and fight Chen Chuang. Li Jinhai held out his hand to Chen Chuang, took the key and stepped forward to open the handcuffs to Han Qian. However, Han Qian dodged the handcuffs, and the evildoer lay on the ground and pouted. "You all know that I am your nephew and son-in-law. What will the public say about you if you open the handcuffs for me? I have no conditions. I ask Officer Chen Chuang not to appear in front of me in the future. I will be honest, otherwise I will explode if I see him once. If a person is found guilty, I will send the accused to the provincial complaint box." Li Jinhai looked at Cheng Jin in embarrassment. The latter glanced at Han Qian, turned his head and looked at Chen Chuang again, and smiled. "How much hatred is there between you? Do you know each other?" Chen Chuang told Han Qian about swearing in glory. Cheng Jin frowned and looked at Han Qian, who was lying on the ground and curled his lips. "Anyway," I said, "can you not ask for money or expose my identity? You refused, and then this happened. I don't want lost work pay, mental compensation, medical expenses, reputation fees. I don't want it, and I don't dare to. Yes, my condition is that he is allowed to appear in front of me, otherwise we will not talk about anything. If you embarrass me, I will embarrass the entire Yeomanman. There are not many, only more than 30 people." Cheng Jin stood at the door and looked at Han Qian and smiled. "How many people are over 30? Han Qian didn't panic at all and said calmly. "When a person's credibility reaches a certain level, even if he tells everyone that what he said is a lie, they will still guess and doubt whether it is true or false, and will verify it. How many people will there be then?" Cheng Jin smiled again. "Han Qian, are you threatening me?" Han Qian curled his lips and laughed at himself. "Threat? No, 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 I am not even afraid of death. I dare to knock out a gangster when 5 or 6 pistols, 2 submachine guns, and 2 shotguns are pointed at me, and when I shoot Feng Lun I'm not afraid of anything anymore. Lock me up for 10 years? 20 years? As long as you are happy, I will help you sincerely, but if you treat me like a fool, you won't be able to have fun anymore, so I will agree to this condition. I'll get up and leave. If you don't agree, then just waste it. Before dark, I will break the news you have always wanted. I am not a blackmail threat. I am helping you clean up the Yamen Gate. Son." Cheng Jin smiled again, turned around and patted Chen Chuang on the shoulder, smiling. "As a public official, you can't bring your personal emotions into your work. If you bring Han Qian back today, glory and enjoy. The two groups will put pressure on your small temple at the same time. You went to glory and said I am very clear about what you are saying here. It is not good to be too emotionally and violently angry. Go home and rest for a while. I grant you a paid leave." Hua Luo turned his back to Li Jinhai and said, "The rest is your family matter. When you do it, take off your police uniform and go to the street to beat him. He has to go to the hospital for a checkup anyway, and the medical expenses don't matter." Less than 10 minutes later, under the surprised eyes of Yan Qingqing and Gao Xing'ai, Han Qian was carried out of the Yamen Gate by Li Jinhai like a princess. When he got outside, he threw Han Qian onto the front hood of his car and picked him up. He picked up a wicker stick and pointed it at Han Qian's butt and started to slap him, yelling and cursing while doing so. "Little bastard, you call your wife's second uncle by his first name now? Have you learned all the rules from a dog? What do you call me? Second uncle. Second uncle. Second uncle, I was wrong, second uncle." There were many people taking pictures with their mobile phones. Han Kinzai was ignorant and knew whether this would cause trouble for Li Jinhai. If he hadn't spoken, the comments under the video might be that public officials abused lynching. When he opened his mouth, he called his second uncle. The following comments might be: Director Li is selfless and strict in educating his children, setting an example and being selfless. Tired from playing, Li Jinhai took out 2 bottles of water in the car, unscrewed one and handed it to Han Qian, panting softly. That woman got the compensation from the Yeomanman. She is just not satisfied and wants to extort some more money. Whether you give it or not depends on your personal wishes. Han Qian lay in the car and didn't dare to move, curling his lips. Doesn't giving her money prove that I have a relationship with Feng Lun? Am I guilty? I don't believe that no one is controlling her. I think it's what Feng's Haida means. Anyway, I won't give a cent. Li Jinhai nodded slightly. Then I won't give it to her. Her family is very wealthy. Han Qian, it's not that my second uncle cheated you. It's more difficult for me to make the decision in my position. I don't know who said it wouldn't last a few years, so I'll help if I can. Then you told me about your divorce from Xianyuan. If she gets divorced, will she still live with me? What's going on with Mr. Yan? What's going on with Ji Zheng? What's up with the nursery rhyme? This is a friend. Where's Yushasai? Is he also your friend? A warm friend. The city has a plan to develop Dongcheng and make it the main residential area within 5 years. What? Han Qian was really surprised to hear this sentence from the mouth of the Lord of Hell. Unfortunately, Li Jinhai stopped paying attention to him and waved to Yan Qingqing and Gao Xing'ai in the distance. Send him to the hospital for a checkup. He doesn't have to pay for the medical expenses. Lying on the back seat of Yan Qingqing's Raptor, Han Qian kept thinking about Li Jinhai's words. Will Dongcheng become a major development? There are hundreds of thousands of square meters of open space there. If these are developed at the same time, which company can take advantage of it? Han Qian's eyes lit up instantly and he said eagerly. Ching Ching, go to the Land Bureau. If you call me Ching Ching, I'll beat you to death. It's red. In the hospital, Han Qian's shoulder was fine. The important thing was that his butt was swollen. A female doctor about 50 years old looked at Han Qian's butt. Yan Qingqing on the side also looked at it seriously. The 2 women were talking. It's nothing serious, the swelling will subside and it will be fine, no need for medicine. Han Qian, who was lying on the bed, blushed and texted Wen Nuan. Little sheep, I can't pick you up today because my butt is swollen due to a spanking by my second uncle. Sister, I'll give you some medicine. Why do you feel so warm and hopeful? When thinking this way, Yan Qingqing on the side said seriously. Doctor, let's prescribe some ointment. Hearing this, Han Qian reached out to lift his pants and received a slap on his left hand. Yan Qingqing did it. This girl is also looking forward to it. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 231. The Land Bureau did not go to the office. Yan Qingqing refused to let Han Qian go and directly took Han Qian to her apartment. When she helped Han Qian go upstairs to the door, Yan Qingqing suddenly stopped moving and said with an embarrassed expression. Hey, General Han, I forgot to bring my key. Either, or, I go to your house. What do you have in your hand? A bunch of car keys like this. After being exposed, Yan Qingqing simply stopped worrying and opened the door directly. Han Qian regretted it and whispered. Well, take me home. Not in the mood. Anyway, it has been exposed, so there is no need to hide it anymore. Yan Qingqing's apartment is very small. The bathroom is on the right-hand side of the door, the kitchen is on the left-hand side, and the living room and bedroom are directly opposite. It is a very small apartment. Han Qian walked in step by step. Looking at Yan Qingqing's appearance, he didn't need to change his boots. Looking at a few pairs of worn stockings thrown on the sofa, Han Qian frowned. When he turned to look at Yan Qingqing, he saw a small underwear hanging on the TV. Han Qian just took a step and felt his feet go soft. Cover. No more, I couldn't bear it for a minute anymore. Just when Han Qian was about to speak, Yan Qingqing came over with the medicine and said with a sly smile. "Da Lang, it's time to apply the medicine." Han Qian stretched out his hands to refuse and frowned. "No, there is no place to lie down. My butt is healed after taking the medicine, and my heart is dead. Can't you girls be neater? Warmth is like this, big money is like this, and you are like this too. I don't dare imagine nursery rhymes and Jijing's room. I will go to Sister Yang's house to visit when I have time." Yan Qingqing curled her lips, walked to the sofa, picked up the stockings, balled them up and threw them aside, saying with disdain, "Men with mysophobia are the most annoying, let's get over it now." Han Qian kept shaking his head. "No, I can't bear it. Why don't you clean up first? Don't like to move? Then I'll do it. Move as much as you want, it may hurt to death, you may starve to death, you may freeze to death, but you absolutely cannot accept that the room is in such a mess." I walked into the bathroom and found a wash basin. I put all my underwear and stockings in the basin and sent them away. Then he packed up Yan Qingqing's clothes, sent them to the bathroom again and threw them into the washing machine. Fortunately, this woman no longer cooks at home. When she is busy, she forgets about the injury on her buttocks. After finishing everything, she feels like she has moved into another room. Now it is Yan Qingqing's turn not to move. It is always too clean and makes her feel homeless. It felt like he went to the bathroom to take his underwear to the balcony to dry. In just 2 minutes, Han Qian, who was lying on the sofa, had fallen asleep. Yan Qingqing looked at the ointment in her hand and threw it aside. Without taking advantage of Han Qian, she took off her clothes and went to bed. She sat on the bed and looked at Han Qian lying on the sofa. Yan Qingqing narrowed her eyes, as if she was no longer afraid. Yan Qingqing huddled in the quilt and laughed and cried. Things that are warm and accessible are like treasures to her. This idea was immediately rejected by Yan Qingqing. Anyway, here he is now. This was probably the most peaceful and familiar sleep that Yan Qingqing had ever had. Because Han Qian was here, she was not afraid of anything and didn't have to worry about anything. She used to be most afraid of answering Lu Shenge's call, let alone him coming over. But this time she took her time, because there was this man who was a little naive, a little money obsessed, a little calm, a little naughty, a little manly, and a talented man lying here. There's nothing like peace of mind. All Yan Qingqing's strength, including her mouth, is all to protect herself, because she has no backer in the city. Unlike Wen Nuan, who has parents and relatives, she has nothing, including the future. She only has herself. A car, a baseball bat. She slept until 4 o'clock. The deep sleep made Yan Qingqing forget her dreams. Looking at Han Qian, who was already lying on the sofa playing games, Yan Qingqing narrowed her eyes and smiled. "Han Qian, I sleep naked, not wearing anything." Han Qian turned his head and glanced at Yan Qingqing, then continued to look at the phone and whispered. "Qingqing, I seem to have gotten into trouble. I just downloaded a game, and then my phone was in arrears. Oh, I'll give it to you. Can't you even connect to Wi-Fi? I don't know the password." "You're so stupid. What are your plans now? Are you going to pick up the warmth? My butt hurts. If I pick her up, I will be in trouble. I originally thought about going to the Land Bureau, but then I thought it would be useless. I thought about going to Changjin tomorrow." "Forget it. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Do you want to send me home or go home by yourself? Take Nuan home to harm you? Nuan hasn't been at home lately. Going back to her mother's place. Then don't leave. I'll order takeout and take a bite." She just told Han Qian that she was not asking for his opinion. Not long after, the takeout was delivered, and Yan Qingqing said softly when she knocked on the door. "Leave it at the door. My husband will get it after he takes a shower. Han Qian frowned as he watched Yan Qingqing tiptoeing to get the takeaway. Be careful when you live alone. Yan Qingqing smiled. You know, every time I order a meal, I order 2 portions, and I also prepare some men's belongings at home. Otherwise, where did the Thai come from at that time? Eat, eat, don't be picky. I can't cook, and I don't want to eat. Building. After the meal, Han Qian sent a message to Wen Nuan, and he would pick her up tomorrow. By the way, he had something to discuss with Lao Wen. As soon as the text message was sent, Nuan called. Yan Qingqing was very sensible and did not make any sound, but no, it means that she doesn't want to torture Han Qian. In a provocative pose, she put on a pair of black stockings in front of Han Qian, then sat next to Han Qian, cheek to cheek, and eavesdropped. Han Qian wanted to push Yan Qingqing's head away, but unfortunately he didn't have the hands. Finally, Nuan said she was going to eat before hanging up the phone. Han Qian felt very uncomfortable being teased by Yan Qingqing, gritted his teeth and glared at Yan Qingqing angrily. Bullying a virgin is very fulfilling, isn't it? Yan Qingqing pinched Han Qian's chin and smiled charmingly. How about saying goodbye to your virginity tonight? I won't refuse you. I've already put on my stockings. Han Qian was very tangled, and then he stood up and went to the bathroom to wash his face. He wanted to say goodbye to his virginity, but he didn't want to touch any woman. Han Qian was a very conservative and traditional man. Maybe such a man should no longer exist in this world, but that's just what he is. He believes that if he has a relationship with a girl, he must be responsible. He does not want to share his shoulders with other women. After confirming a relationship with one woman, he still has an affair with other women. Moreover, he knows the taste of this kind of thing. Out of control. Han Qian, who has been able to resist eating crabs since he was a child, doesn't know the taste, and won't be curious unless he drinks expensive drinks, is also in control of this matter. Perhaps it is difficult for Han Qian to control his temper, but his control over his eating, drinking, and having fun can be described as terrifying. When he walked out of the bathroom, he glared at Yan Qingqing and said angrily, "Don't tempt me. When you are the only one left by my side, I will put you to bed even if you don't agree, but I can't now. Do you understand what I think?" Yan Qingqing said softly with a smile on her face and love in her eyes. "I really like your character. You made me re-understand what it means to be a man. It's your business how many women you have around you. There won't be a second Han Qian around me." After saying that, Yan Qingqing stood up and walked forward, took the towel in Han Qian's hand, wiped the man's face, and said softly, "I only have eyes for you forever." Han Qian said in a dazed manner, "I do not understand. I will always have the only one in my eyes."